Hi, how are you all? I hope you're all really good. Welcome to Kirsty's Books. This is like my second video back for the year and I am buzzing to be filming at the minute. I've got time, I'm still at home for Christmas, so I am just filming as many videos as I can. I'm at home alone just now, so I'm hoping I can actually finish this video all in one. Usually I end up having to like stop it and start it, and it gets really like this, it gets really interrupted. So yeah, I thought today I would do a book haul of the books I got for Christmas. So I was super lucky. For Christmas, I got so many amazing things, and I did get some books. I got 5 books, but what I'm really excited about this year is that people actually listened to my book list. Very often people will just buy me books because they know I like books, and either they know me really well and it turns out to be a book I've already read and loved, or they don't know me as well and it's maybe not one of my favourite books. But this year I gave them a book list and I got books off of that book list, so I'm really buzzing. So let's get started. Okay, book number 1 is The Hummingbird Killer by Finn Longman. If you watched my last video, you would have seen me talking about The Butterfly Assassin, which is the first book in this series. I absolutely loved The Butterfly Assassin. I've already started reading The Hummingbird Killer. I have started annotating. I never usually annotate a book on a first read, but I just know that this book is going to be incredible, so I've started annotating it on a first read. But yes, I'm really excited to be reading this. I did ask for this one because I have the first one and I got gifted the third one from the author, which is mad, and so I didn't have the second one, so I'm desperate for the second one. So I've got this, already started reading it. It's already very good. If you don't know what the series is, it is like a dystopia. I would sort of describe it as Shatter Me crossed with the Naturals series. They're amazing. The author is fantastic. They're such unpredictable books. They're heartbreaking. They are they're just really good books. The author is not afraid to kill off characters. It's heartwarming, but you will absolutely sob. I'm hoping that this book is going to be as good as the other one. There aren't that many characters left because a lot of them got killed off at the end of the last one. That's not really a spoiler. And yeah, I'm really excited for this. I loved the first one so much, and already I'm 54 pages into this one, and I know that this one is just going to be just as good. Okay, and then the second book I got was Bad Blood by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which is the 4th book in the Natural series. So also, if you'd watched my last video, you would have seen me talking about all 3 of the first 3 books in the Natural series, all of which I have read in a single sitting, which I'm hoping I can do with this. This one is significantly thicker than the other 3, but I'm really hoping that again I can do this in a full sitting. I love this series so much, and I was desperate to get the last one. I was sort of trying to not buy them all at once because I don't want this series to end, so this is the only reason that I haven't read this one initially. I was very tempted as soon as I got given it to just read it straight away, but I was like, no, I have to read it all in one go because that's how I've been reading the Natural series, and I want to savour it, but I'm desperate to read it, but I don't want the series to end. I feel like I'm gonna have to just reread it. As soon as I finished it, I'm just gonna have to reread it. But I'm scared of how it's gonna end. I've no idea. This book could go in so many different directions. Every single one of these books are really unpredictable. I love the characters. I love the plot points. Jennifer Lynn Barnes is a genius. I'm super excited about this one. I've not actually read the back, so give me 2 seconds. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, it's quite a vague back blurb, that's the word. It's quite a vague blurb, as they always are. But I'm so excited. I'm hoping to read this soon, but as I said, I also don't want to because then it's going to be finished. And The Naturals is my Roman Empire at this point, so obviously I want to read the 4th one. But anyway, I'm very delighted to have been given this one. Okay, book number 3 is The Prisoner's Throne by Holly Black. I love Holly Black so much. At the end of 2023, I started the Folk of the Air trilogy, and I think I finished it at the start of last year. and I loved it so much. It was so good. And then I think maybe midway through last year I read The Prisoner's Throne by Holly Black, which was incredible, and I didn't expect it to be quite as good as it was. And I remember finishing The Stolen Heir, and it finishes it on a really big cliffhanger, which I was unaware of. And I remember I'd almost bought The Prisoner's Throne, like kind of at the same time that I was reading The Stolen Heir. I was like, maybe I just buy The Prisoner's Throne, but I think it was only in hardback, and I was like, oh, it'll be fine, I'll leave it. And I finished The Stolen Heir, and I was like, hang on a second, I need to pick up The Prisoner's Throne straight away. And I hadn't bought it straight away. And so it's sort of been a while since I've read it, which actually makes me really quite sad, because I don't quite remember what happened, but I know that I was desperate to pick up the sequel as soon as I finished The Stolen Heir. So it was a little bit like, I'm really annoyed. I wish I'd just read this straight after The Stolen Heir. I might just reread The Stolen Heir and then go straight into this, but I know that Holly Black is an incredible writer. Her fantasy world is sublime. Her characters are amazing. Her romance is amazing. And you never know what's coming. So I'm really excited to read this. I might have to reread The Stolen Heir first, but this was one that it was like, it's been on my list. I might as well just get it. And last year I tried to get back into my fantasy. I used to be a fantasy reader, like when I was like 12, 13. I used to literally only read fantasy, and every single book I read was fantasy. And then I sort of dropped out of reading fantasy a bit when I started getting into books properly and getting onto Bookstagram and everything like that, and I sort of turned a little bit more towards romance. And then sometimes I'll do like romance and I'll do thriller, and then, you know, every now and then I'll be influenced and do like a literary fiction, and I do love YA, but fantasy just isn't my top genre anymore. And then last year I was like, I need to get back into fantasy. So I have read some incredible fantasies, and always, like every year, it's not my biggest genre, but some of my favourite books are usually a fantasy. So we're going to try and keep continuing that this year, because I do love a fantasy. I think I've said fantasy a lot of times right there, but it's got to be like really good, and it can't be too much. I will say I'm not a high fantasy fan. I am like a fantasy like this. I don't think you'd describe that as a high fantasy. I've done like The Priory of the Orange Tree, which I struggled with. And I think there's a few others I've done as well. Once it gets too complicated and there's too much world building, and like The Priory of the Orange Tree is like 800 pages long, I struggle then. But a little cute little YA fantasy I live for. So I'm really excited to get back into this series and finish it. Finish the duology, finally. Okay, and now the fourth book I am super excited for. I know I've been excited for all of these, but it is I Fell in Love with Hope by Lankali. This has been on my want to read list forever. Honestly, I don't know if anyone else was on Bookstagram around about the time that she absolutely went viral. This story was everywhere, and I don't know why I didn't just buy it. At that time I was like, I am desperate to read this girl's story. I was like, I need to get my hands on her book. And at that time she had self-published it. I think this is the traditional published version, but I was desperate to read it from the moment she talked about it on Instagram. And years have gone by, and I'm like, oh my god, I've still not read I Fell in Love with Hope. And I think it might be because I'm partly too scared of it. I'm too scared. Well, initially it was I was too scared of the hype. Now I'm too scared of how emotional it's going to be. I've not heard a bad thing about this book, but I do know that it is really emotional. Here was me saying I wasn't going to get interrupted. The cats are doing just that. Honestly, this is... I'm actually so excited about it. I'm so scared for it. I will probably do a video reading this, because I feel like it could be another A Little Life moment. But I am super excited. Super excited. This cover is beautiful as well. But yeah, I've seen this everywhere. I've always wanted to read it, and I was like, oh, I could add that to my list. I was like, because I have got a notes list on the app on my phone, because last year I tried to cut down my book buying. So anytime I got this urge of like buying a book, I would just put it on the notes app on my phone. And then when I got to a point where I was like, right, okay, I haven't bought a book in ages, I'll choose one off of the app on my phone rather than just buying a book for the sake of buying it, buying a book that I really, really want to read. So I just took my Christmas list off of that list, really, and this was on it, and I was like, I will finally get around to this book. So hopefully at some point soon I will read this book. I need to keep it somewhere visible because otherwise it will get lost in the TBR, but I'll take it down to Glasgow with me, I think, and hopefully get to it soon. Okay, and then the final book was actually not one on my book list, but every single Christmas Eve what we do is we get a pair of Christmas pajamas and a book, and it's like our Christmas Eve gift. I know other people have got like different Christmas Eve traditions, so that's our one. And so on Christmas Eve I opened up my parcel and I had this book, and it's called Night Watching by Tracy Sierra, and I have actually never seen this book. I don't think, the cover does look slightly familiar to me, but I don't know if this is just because I've looked at it quite a bit since I've got it and the book's just been sitting there. But I haven't really seen it. It's not a very popular one, I don't think. This is when I'm talking about it and everyone's like, of course, every single person has read that. But it's not one that I have really seen about the book community, but it sounds amazing. My mum knows what type of books I read. It's kind of like thrillery. I think it's possibly going on to horror-y, which I'm not a horror reader, but as long as it stays on the thriller side of it, it's fine. Thriller horrors I can do, straight horrors not so much, but I'm really excited about this. It sounds really exciting, really interesting. I'm hoping that I'll get to this one at some point soon. I'm a little bit concerned that it might just go on the TBR and just sit on the TBR for years, but I know that when I pick this book back up and I find it in the pile of books, I will get really excited to read it because it sounds really good. I might just pick it up in a minute and just like get it done just now. But this is one I'm really interested about. It looks like a lot of people have reviewed it, and also unpopular opinion I know, but I love covers like these. I know that most people have an absolute hatred towards, they do have a name and I don't remember what they're called, but these like two covers. I know a lot of people hate them, but I quite like them. Anyway, that's completely beside the point. But yeah, it sounds really good. Not one I've heard of, but one that I'm excited to read all the same. Okay, so those are the books I got for Christmas. I'm too scared to hold them up because in the last video I held them up like this and I like dropped half the books on the floor. So we're just gonna rest them here. So these are the books I got for Christmas. I also did get some like bookish gifts as well. I got some annotating supplies. I got a few bookish t-shirts that I'm sure you'll see at some point. I got a Harry Potter wand, which I was over the moon about, probably to an unhealthy extent, but that's absolutely fine. So yeah, I'll probably show that on here at some point as well, but I feel like I have rambled on enough for you, so I will let you get on with your day. But yeah, that is my Christmas book haul. I'm really delighted about it. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you would like to like or subscribe, that would mean a lot, but honestly the fact that you're just still here watching is crazy. So yeah, thank you very much, and I will hopefully see you all soon for another video.